every Skrull that isn't in Emperor George's colony? The answer.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and I want to talk to you guys about the Marvels and Secret Invasion. Specifically, how the Marvels somehow make Secret Invasion even worse than it was before the movie came out. I'm going to explain why, and then I'm going to tell you how I think they could have easily tweaked the movie to make the show way better. And I am going to play vampirism and steal this trait.
And that is why you have no friends. Or what do you mean? The movie made the show worse?
Well, yeah, man, look, Secret Invasion has its problems. I mean, behind the scenes, there are reports that they had to reshoot most of the entire show after Russia invaded the Ukraine. And there's rumors that the creatives weren't even speaking to each other by the time filming wrapped. I mean, they fired their showrunner. The whole thing was just a mess. And also, you can tell they had a smaller budget for the reshoots because a lot of this show takes place in really sparse rooms without extras and very small sets. Like, look, apart from rock-solid performances by Sam Jackson and Charlene Woodard and Ben Mendelsohn, the show is pretty cheap and awful. But at least you could understand where it fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Skrulls had no home. They resented Fury. Fury is filled with self-doubt and self-loathing. Fine. Not well executed, but fine. But when you see the Marvels and where the Skrulls are at in there and where Carol is, it really makes Secret Invasion stick out like a sore thumb that they really probably should have Batgirled. And look, guys, I don't hate the Marvels. Not at all. And I don't think most of you hate it either. It is aggressively fine. It is a zippy 100 minutes at the movies. It could have been way better, sure, but I want to try to judge a movie by what's there instead of what's not there. Although I'll probably judge it by what's not there by the end of this video. And look, I'm probably going to make a Marvels breakdown video where we try to improve it, so make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss that one.
I am going to play Apex Predator.
That is a really good card, dude. High five.
Hey, what are you guys playing? That's not any kind of Go Fish I've ever heard of.
We're playing one of our favorite games, Doomlings.
Is it fun?
It's great. See, it's like Uno played with Pokemon, or imagine a much, much shorter version of Monopoly where your family is still speaking to each other the next day. I am so glad Doomlings sponsored this video. So the game is all about the countdown to the end of the world, and you are trying to create a cute new race of creatures to survive the apocalypse. So you play all of these trait cards to score points with very special instructions written on each card. You can play with 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, and it only takes about 5 minutes to learn and a half hour to play. It's perfect for game nights. See, throughout the game, you play these traits in stages called ages, like this one. This one is the big one, where you give one card from your hand to opponents to your left and your right. So this means that no 2 games of Doomlings are ever alike because the rules keep shifting.
Yeah, I mean, I picked it up real quick and I don't even got thumbs.
Right, and if you get expansions like this Overlush expansion, then you get card packs. And this is so much fun because it takes me back to the thrill of opening up Pokemon cards and seeing what kind of characters you get. It's a lot of fun. So this has become a regular option on my game nights, and I love board games. Trust me, we have a lot of options on game night. So now, for a limited time, you can use the code CRUSH25 to get 25% off your Doomlings purchase. You can get the classic game, the deluxe model like this one, and all are fun to play. Also, in November and December, they are offering a free mystery pack with every deluxe bundle purchase. So scan this QR code and use our code CRUSH25 to get your discount today. Now, before I get too far into Secret Invasion, we have to explain a few of the behind-the-scenes problem with the Marvels and how that may or may not tie into Secret Invasion's trebled production. Now look, like I said, the Marvels was a fun little movie that I would call aggressively fine. Aman Vellani is a national treasure. She's great in it. She's great on talk shows.
I was doing that fight scene with him, actually. He grabs my arm and like turns to me. He's like, elbow me, mother.
But I'm also sure that we'll find out that the Marvel's 100-minute runtime and obvious over-editing was also tied to Secret Invasion's trebled production. I mean, look, they had to end Secret Invasion with Nick Fury as the same person that he was before the show. That way, he would be consistent with the Nick Fury that we meet in the Marvels. Like, the Marvels release date was pushed back several times, and so was Secret Invasion's. And the studio even said that the events of Secret Invasion were always going to be setting up the Marvels, which, by the way, they do not set them up at all. The two things are completely separate and different from each other. Now, I said earlier that you really can't judge the Marvels for what wasn't on screen, but you can judge Secret Invasion for what's on the screen because a lot of the time it's uncreative, empty, cheap, and at points it makes the case that it would have better served the studio as a tax write-off. So I am wondering how much these two trebled productions hurt or helped one another. Now, you also get the feeling that the Marvels was over-edited. I mean, look, there is no way this screenplay was always this short. Plot points like the Prince are introduced and then dropped, and as our editor-in-chief Matt Singer pointed out, there is no reason for Fury to take the cons to space, except that it's fun, but they never give an actual reason for it. In the Marvels, Nick Fury is used for exposition and comic relief, and he bears no resemblance to the burdened, pensive Cold Warrior that we met in Secret Invasion. And the series ends with his wife going with him into outer space, and she, by the way, was a great character. I loved everything between those two characters and actors. They were fantastic. But in this movie, his wife isn't in it, which is a bummer because Fury's whole arc was to learn to accept her and to bring her into his entire life. I mean, she would have fit perfectly Fury in the movie, Fury could have easily been bouncing ideas off of her at the space station. But maybe in the original drafts of Secret Invasion, she died or left Fury. So when they shot the Marvels, she wasn't originally in the script and they couldn't go back and add her in. I also thought that Fury had like no gravitas in this movie. When he's stuck with the cons, he mouths, "Help me," to Carol, and he's just in general way more wacky. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. You can have movies where characters are placed in situations where the actors get to play against type. That's fun. It just doesn't at all match anything about the latest version of Fury we saw, so it's really jarring and makes everything feel disconnected. But all of this is endemic with a larger problem with Secret Invasion, that the show had no consequences whatsoever. Every story in the MCU should be moving the saga forward ever so slightly. You should change the universe in some way or further the character's growth, or, you know what, better yet, do both. The series ends with the public finding out that Skrulls are on Earth, and the president declares that all aliens must leave the planet. And this agency's sword is like completely staffed by aliens. How come no one mentions that the president declared open season on ETs?
We know who you are. We know how to find you. And we will kill every last one of you.
Why is SWORD still launching ships through the teleportation network if the president has shut off the planet from the rest of the universe? There are even rumors that the Skrull paranoia is not even mentioned in Captain America: Brave New World, a movie that features the next president of the United States, President Thunderbolt Ross. Like, I thought the ending of Secret Invasion was really promising. In fact, I would have rather have seen that happen in like episode 2 and then have the series be about that. But imagine an MCU with alien paranoia, where people turn on New Asgard, where the governments of the world try to take back their planet from superpowered weirdos. And the Marvels features a government agency during an extraterrestrial attack, and none of those geopolitics play into the plot at all. Hell, there's even a parallel here between Fury and Carol. Carol went to Hala and basically overthrew their government. It's an example of superpowered overreach. And in this movie, the Skrulls tell Carol to stop helping them, to stop interfering. Much like Fury, Carol is questioning whether all her work has made the world better or worse. And when she's facing self-doubt, her old pal Fury doesn't have a heart-to-heart with her or impart any of the wisdom he has gained from his experience in Secret Invasion, because he's too busy chaperoning the cons and playing with cats. Which honestly is exactly what I would be doing if I were in this movie. Like, I love the cons, I love cats, but I'm not Nick Fury.
Yeah, but you're saying put politics in a movie and it was just supposed to be a zippy fun space movie.
Sure, but the movie even had a chance. There was a scene where geopolitics should have been mentioned. Valkyrie shows up and takes on Skrull refugees, and she doesn't say anything like, "Hey, Earth isn't as safe as it used to be for non-Terrans," or "your kind will have to be careful on Earth," or "Hey, people on Earth want to kill Skrulls right now." Nope, she just takes them off to New Asgard, no mention that their kind are now being hunted for sport. Which kind of makes you wonder, why was going to New Asgard not even an option for Skrulls in Secret Invasion? And the true worst thing about all of this is it makes the plight of the Skrulls in Secret Invasion make absolutely no sense.
What do you mean by that?
Well, remember that at the end of Captain Marvel, Carol and Fury have promised to find the Skrulls a home. They have a ship so advanced that it can take the Skrulls far off into space where the Kree cannot find them. But then, in Secret Invasion, we found out that Fury never found the Skrulls a home.
I knew the only way for me to keep my end of the bargain was to build you a home here.
Why didn't you do it?
Oh yeah, why didn't he do that?
They never explain why. I mean, Fury says the Skrulls can't stay on Earth.
There's not enough room or tolerance on this planet for another species.
And we can infer that there is discrimination against shapeshifters like throughout the universe. But as many of you have pointed out to us in the comments, Carol had already found an uninhabited planet that only contained one dead Thanos. So why not move the Skrulls there? And in this movie, we see a Skrull colony. Now, this colony was mentioned in Secret Invasion.
And every Skrull that isn't in Emperor George's colony.
And look, if the Skrulls had a home like this, then why did 1 million of them choose to secretly hide out on Earth? The Skrulls in Secret Invasion want to have a place where they can be, as they put it,
Home in my own skin.
They have that home where Skrulls are walking around as Skrulls and not shapeshifting. The weather looks good, there's nice buildings, the people don't seem oppressed or unhappy. I mean, look, in Secret Invasion, when Talos mentioned there was an emperor ruling a Skrull colony, I just assumed that this emperor was a real bastard, because in the comics, the Skrulls' royalty are like always evil. I mean, if this colony would have been like shrouded in darkness on a lava planet, or if the emperor would have been oppressing his people, then I would understand why the Skrulls would want to take over Earth. Earth is awesome. But this planet here is really pleasant. It looks very nice. The Emperor's very nice. Why don't the Skrulls just go live here? And Gravik's whole problem in Secret Invasion was supposed to be that Fury never found them a home. But they have a home. Now, in Secret Invasion, we do see that Fury created the world's most powerful spy network by using the Skrulls, and they helped him rise to power over the years. So it would have made sense if Fury did maybe find the Skrulls a home, but he didn't tell them about it, or he found some way to string them along. Then there would have been some kind of original sin in what he did, a reason for him to feel guilty. But in the show, we never find out why Nick Fury didn't find the Skrulls a home. They just never explain it. And like Talos says, the Skrulls knew about the Emperor's colony. And honestly, I think this all would have made a lot more sense if the Marvels would have come out first. Like in this movie, we see the Skrull colony get destroyed. So like maybe the Skrulls resent Fury and Carol for not protecting them from the Kree. They decide to take over the Earth after their Emperor is killed, and they need a place to stay because their home is just destroyed. And frankly, I think this movie would have worked a lot better with a pensive Nick Fury in it. Like imagine a Fury who doesn't want to leave his space station, who is forced to coordinate a crisis and interact with the cons. But also, this movie shows how much Carol really should have been part of Secret Invasion. Like Fury didn't do enough for the Skrulls while Carol did too much. She overreached. She killed the Supreme Intelligence and probably killed millions of people in the aftermath. So she and Fury both have trouble believing their own hype. And then her failure to protect the Skrulls from Dar-Benn or the Kree would have come back to haunt her as the Skrulls were now invading Earth. But Carol at that point would be reluctant to help because, you know, last time she helped, she overreached so much. Or maybe it would have made more sense if Carol, after destroying the Kree homeworld, was reluctant to interfere with the Skrulls at all. Maybe destroying the Supreme Intelligence made the Kree even more ruthless in killing Skrulls. But instead, the movie just ignored Secret Invasion altogether when, frankly, it laid a lot of groundwork that would have made this story a lot better. Hell, I even think this movie probably should have just been a big screen adaptation of Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
Right? But look, I don't want to beat that drum too hard because we've already made 2 videos about how Secret Invasion should have been an Avengers movie. Instead, I want to talk about how all of this could have been connected with a few small changes. So let's just say that following the end of Secret Invasion, Fury is now helping the Skrulls leave Earth.
Oh yeah, because they're being targeted for extermination?
Exactly. So Fury takes the Skrulls to the new Skrull colony, and maybe they didn't all want to live there before because of, I don't know, deep religious or political divides within the Skrull community. So this influx of Skrulls following Secret Invasion causes problems. There's so many refugees, it causes Skrull infighting. Too many Skrulls, not enough food. Or maybe this makes the Skrulls spread out too much from their colony and they get the attention of the Kree, and that would cause the Kree to retaliate. I mean, after all, Dar-Benn is a dictator, and every dictator needs villains for the people to unite against. So the events of Secret Invasion could have actually kicked off a new war between the Kree and the Skrulls, 2 once mighty empires that are both now on the edge of extinction. And then Carol would have to learn that she can't punch her way out of every situation. She has to learn to be a diplomat. See, with a hero as overpowered as Captain Marvel, they were always going to have to find a way to limit her powers in the sequel. Usually this is because the hero loses their powers, like in Superman 2, Spider-Man 2, The Wolverine, and Wonder Woman 1984. But the Marvel set up a situation where Carol couldn't always use her powers because of entanglement. I would have rather seen her placed in a situation where her powers could not be used because they would only make the situation worse. I mean, after all, that's how she destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, with brute force. So maybe in this movie, she could have become more of a diplomat. We could have actually seen the wedding to the singing guy, something. Like maybe that wedding was a key point in her getting this group to help with the Kree and the Skrulls or something. Like all of this, though, is showing the limits of Marvel's interconnected storytelling. When they were doing a few interconnected stories, it worked so well, like how Winter Soldier led into Age of Ultron, and that led into Civil War, into Infinity War, and Endgame. That was the same group of characters, the same basic continuity. But now the problem is Marvel Studios is siloing their projects for the sake of secrecy. For instance, Michael Waldron and Sam Raimi didn't see WandaVision before making Multiverse of Madness, and I'm betting that Nia DaCosta didn't have much access to whatever versions of Secret Invasion existed when she was making this film. Or maybe Marvel just came down on the story and gave her bullet points on how to connect it to like 4 other stories. I mean, that kind of pressure can really hinder the creative process. It doesn't make the world feel interconnected, it makes it feel disconnected. And look, overall, Secret Invasion still really shines at points, and I don't think that The Marvels is bad. I think it's a fine movie. But these 2 projects should have been so good. Like, I'm starting to think that Marvel fatigue is real, but it's not the fans that are getting tired, it's the studio heads, because at this point, it just seems like they're throwing whatever they can out there instead of like taking a break, taking a breath, and really telling stories that are gonna get fans excited. Oh ho, look at that, 4 horsemen, that's the end of the game, and looking at my points, guys, I think I win.
Not so fast, person. I am playing the sneaky card, which gives me 2 traits, making me the victor.
Good game, high five, buddy. Yeah. And just a reminder, everybody, to get your discount on Doomlings, use the code CRUSH25 in the description or use this QR code to get your discount today. Well, guys, that's just my thoughts on the Marvels and Secret Invasion. Let me know your thoughts on the movie and the show down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.